The LPGA Tour had Caitlin Clark play.
The LPGA has ignited a significant firestorm, one that has left the WNBA completely furious. Not long ago, the LPGA invited Caitlin Clark, a top young talent in women's basketball, to participate in a special event, and the outcome? It was a gigantic crowd, with excitement levels through the roof, and a brand new surge of fans getting into women's golf. The LPGA very publicly celebrated Clark's appearance, knowing full well the immense value she offers. But here is where the story gets interesting. While the entire golf community embraced her, the WNBA's official response has been decidedly cold. What on earth would make the WNBA feel so intimidated by Clark's rising popularity? Could it be simple jealousy, or is it something much deeper? Stay with us as this story explores a new rivalry that is poised to reshape women's sports entirely.
And the LPGA, fans, well, the event was taken over by the ominous crowd.
Inviting Caitlin Clark to their special event was a truly game-changing move for the LPGA. A very diverse crowd of fans appeared, not just for the golf itself, but specifically to see Clark in person. Her incredible star power is simply indisputable. She has ushered in a massive wave of new followers to women's sports in general, and the LPGA's reaction. They recognized this potential immediately, embracing her fully and seeing her not just as a star, but as a powerful magnet for attracting new attention to their game. The LPGA cheered her on enthusiastically, understanding that Caitlin was more than a basketball player. She was a major draw for younger crowds who might never have even watched women's golf before. However, this warm and enthusiastic reception caused a completely unforeseen reaction, a growing wave of frustration from deep inside the WNBA. But why? It appears that rather than welcome Clark's broad universal appeal, certain key figures in the WNBA see her as direct competition for the spotlight. Despite all the benefits she could offer, a strong feeling exists that she diverts attention away from their own established stars. Several WNBA players and their supporters voiced serious doubts, claiming the intense focus on Clark undermines the hard-won progress they worked so hard for.
Made sure to go get angry at everything Caitlin Clark did and everything Caitlin Clark does and was ever going to do, and made it that she was the problem and not the solution.
The LPGA just sparked a storm, and it's one that has the WNBA fuming.
But please consider this. For women's sports to truly expand, shouldn't a unique talent like Caitlin, who brings in countless new fans, be welcomed with open arms? The WNBA's strange reaction, in such stark contrast to the LPGA's, certainly raises the question, is this all about shielding their established stars, or are they completely failing to see the bigger picture? What makes this entire affair even more compelling is how the LPGA players and their loyal fans reacted. The amazing energy at the tournament was absolutely palpable. The audience felt like they were part of something truly historic, not merely just another golf event. Attendees arrived very early, excited to witness Clark play, and they lingered long after, interacting with other athletes and enjoying the incredible atmosphere. This felt like so much more than a temporary lift. It's a clear signal of rising interest that could benefit all of women's sports. LPGA stars, including the great Nelly Korda, openly commended Clark, describing her as a welcome breath of fresh air and noting how wonderful the new and diverse crowd was. They viewed Caitlin not as a rival, but as an important ally, someone who could inject new energy and passion into their sport. The LPGA clearly understood that growing its fan base benefits absolutely everyone, and they very quickly capitalized on this golden opportunity.
The LPGA, you can see when it came to them that they were happy that Caitlin Clark was there. They knew exactly the value that Caitlin Clark brought to the whole event. They saw how important it was that new fans were getting involved in golf, especially women's golf.
Compare that directly to the WNBA, which has unfortunately adopted a more defensive posture regarding Clark's fame. There is a palpable feeling that Caitlin signals a major change that endangers the league's existing internal dynamics. Rather than exploring cross-promotional opportunities or how her fame could enhance the league's profile, some within the WNBA perceive her fan base as an unwelcome and disruptive intrusion. This particular way of thinking, however, might be restraining the league at a truly pivotal time. The sports world is constantly changing, and leagues that fail to adjust may well get left in the dust. The LPGA appears to grasp that evolution is absolutely vital for growth, whereas the WNBA seems quite hesitant, maybe overly defensive of its core identity. But by giving Clark's popularity the cold shoulder, is the WNBA squandering a massive opportunity that could help not just its league, but women's sports overall?
Hey, when it came to Caitlin Clark, it was a lot of like, we don't need you and we were good before and we don't like your fans and this, that, and everything.
Meanwhile, the WNBA's continued unwillingness to fully accept Clark shows a starkly different philosophy. Instead of celebrating her amazing power to draw fans from different sports, some people within the league seem to consider her popularity a major distraction. It feels exactly as if they are guarding an exclusive society instead of promoting an inclusive public stage for all fans of women's sports. This particular philosophy, a complete opposite of the LPGA's warm welcome, could seriously impede the WNBA's development over time. Modern fans today seek compelling narratives, unique personalities, and important interleague connections. By excluding someone dynamic like Caitlin, the WNBA seems to be completely out of step with what today's modern sports fans truly desire. In attempting to maintain a very narrow focus, they could be forfeiting the golden chance to cultivate a much larger, more devoted fan base.
Like, they did everything they could to sabotage their own league. And yeah, it backfired. For me anyway, I think it's hard to argue that it didn't completely backfire for them, because Caitlin Clark is more popular than ever.
What truly makes Caitlin Clark's fame so incredibly powerful is her genuine and authentic passion for all sports. She has consistently and publicly supported female athletes in various different fields, stressing the great need for unity and for collective success. Clark has often expressed her deep admiration for leagues like the WNBA and her sincere desire to elevate women's sports in general. Just imagine if the WNBA had leveraged this powerful enthusiasm rather than simply dismissing it. Clark's undeniable sway could have attracted brand new spectators, significantly boosted ticket sales, and elevated the entire league's profile. But instead, the league's official posture has been guarded and almost dismissive. This may prove to be a significant missed chance for the WNBA, one which they could later come to regret. By not treating Clark as a close ally, they've inadvertently fueled a public tension that could drive away the very same fans they are trying to attract. The differing strategies of the LPGA and the WNBA offer a very clear lesson in organizational adaptation. The LPGA viewed Caitlin Clark's participation as a perfect chance to expand, attract new audiences, and seize a truly special opportunity. They fully knew that women's sports, which often have much lower viewership, gain immensely from cross-promotional support and a sense of solidarity. The LPGA doesn't really care where the new fans come from. They are just incredibly excited that more people are paying attention to their sport, and by collaborating closely with stars like Clark, they are positioning themselves to draw and to keep those fans for the long haul. In a sharp contrast, the WNBA's current position suggests they see Clark's popularity as more of a liability than a major asset. Instead of leveraging her unique multi-sport appeal, they appear totally committed to a status quo that might not be sustainable in the current sports climate. The LPGA's amazing success with Caitlin Clark should serve as a working blueprint for other leagues on how to navigate these modern times. While the WNBA's very defensive posture might seem perfectly reasonable to its insiders, it could seriously alienate fans and also impede future growth. If leagues such as the WNBA refuse to embrace stars who can attract brand new followers, they might find themselves struggling to stay relevant in an increasingly interconnected sports environment. Spectators nowadays desire collaboration, positive energy, and a feeling of togetherness, particularly in women's sports, where leagues often face very similar challenges. The LPGA's clear success in partnering with Clark proves that growth and inclusivity are deeply linked, a powerful formula that could help all of women's sports if only more leagues were open to it. As Caitlin Clark's star continues its incredible rise, the wide gap in how the LPGA and WNBA perceive her will most likely widen. The LPGA's full acceptance of Clark could pioneer a much wider trend of cooperation among women's sports leagues, a forward-thinking strategy that would ultimately benefit all of them. Conversely, the WNBA's ongoing caution could ultimately restrict its own future potential. By failing to take the amazing chance to partner with a huge star like Clark, they are possibly leaving countless fans and a great deal of money on the table. This complex issue is much bigger than one single athlete or one individual league. It concerns the very future of women's sports as a powerful collective force, and if the WNBA ultimately fails to adapt, it might have to sit and watch as other leagues reap the huge rewards of the star power it decided to simply overlook. The public reaction to Caitlin Clark's recent ascent has revealed a fundamental and underlying split among women's sports leagues. While the LPGA's current strategy shows impressive foresight and welcome adaptability, the WNBA's public reaction hints at a much more guarded and almost defensive overall position. It is quite startling to witness this kind of internal friction, particularly now when women's sports stand to gain so very much from solidarity and from joint promotion. Caitlin Clark has clearly proven she is more than just a fan favorite. She is a sincere and true champion for all female athletes. Her authentic passion for women's sports, her charismatic personality, and her crowd-drawing ability are a phenomenal asset, not just for the sport of basketball, but for any sport she is involved with. Consider for a moment if the WNBA had followed the LPGA's lead and publicly applauded Clark's ongoing success. What if they had viewed her as a vital conduit to bring new audiences to their sport? The huge potential for crossover interest among fans of basketball, golf, and other sports is absolutely immense. And it is certainly not just about her growing fan base, it is also about the broader positive influence she can have by encouraging young girls to get involved in women's sports everywhere. The WNBA could have easily seized this important moment, aligning themselves with Clark's incredible journey and leveraging her influence to enhance their league's overall exposure. Instead, however, they projected an unfortunate image of exclusivity that could ultimately prove to be detrimental, making fans and players alike wonder why the league is not more receptive. In the modern sports climate, audiences desperately crave narratives and personalities they can truly relate to. Caitlin Clark is not merely an athlete, she is a major personality, which is her main draw. The LPGA clearly understood this and leveraged her magnetic appeal to stage an event that felt both dynamic and new. The people who came out to see her were not just there for the golf, they were there for the narrative, the shared energy, and the exciting opportunity to witness something fresh and new. This is exactly where the LPGA demonstrated its true vision. Their main focus was not on keeping things exclusive to golf, it was on expanding their sport, and they identified Clark as the absolute ideal catalyst for that specific goal. The big question now remains, why hasn't the WNBA decided to embrace a similar forward-thinking strategy? What's even more revealing is the general fan reaction to the WNBA's noticeable hesitance toward Clark. Numerous fans are quite outspoken in their strong support for her. No matter which sport she is currently playing, they are deeply invested in her success and want to follow her journey, be it on a basketball court or on a beautiful golf green. By not fully welcoming her into the fold, the WNBA risks pushing away not just Clark's many followers, but their existing loyal ones too. The important signal this sends to young aspiring female athletes could be quite harmful. Instead of fostering real unity and celebrating mutual achievements, the WNBA's current position fosters an unhelpful division, implying there is no available space for cooperation or for cross-sport encouragement. The LPGA, conversely, appears to fully grasp the immense importance of community and of shared promotion. Their current strategy reflects a much deeper insight into what contemporary sports fans are actively seeking. Audiences today want to see athletes who are backing each other, leagues that are collaborating, and a general spirit of lasting unity. The LPGA's wonderful partnership with Caitlin Clark conveyed the message that they are not just ready for significant growth, but are actively seeking it out. They are certainly not intimidated by new fans or by the constant attention that Clark naturally attracts. In fact, they openly embrace it. This critical strategic difference demonstrates a level of flexibility that could be absolutely vital to the LPGA's long-term future success. As they continue to benefit from this amazing opportunity, the WNBA seems confined by a rigid mindset that may ultimately stunt its own development. Regrettably, the WNBA's official reaction appears to be deeply rooted in an obsolete way of thinking that clearly values exclusivity far above expansion. By keeping a noticeable distance from Clark, They are passing up a golden chance to connect with a significantly larger potential audience. Fans of women's athletics really want to witness athletes and leagues backing one another, dismantling old obstacles, and cooperating to shine a much brighter light on women's many accomplishments. The WNBA's apparent failure to adopt this collaborative spirit could ultimately leave them at a major disadvantage, particularly as other leagues like the LPGA continue to demonstrate their willingness to adapt to meet modern fan expectations. The LPGA's successful partnership with Caitlin Clark could easily establish a new and important standard for how women's sports leagues cooperate with each other in the future. Envision a new reality where leagues actively arrange exciting crossover events, champion each other's biggest stars, and acknowledge the incredible strength of a shared and growing fan base. Such a modern model could completely transform women's sports, boosting its overall accessibility, its popularity, and its prestige. By cooperating more, leagues can forge a much larger, more unified world for women's sports. The LPGA's smart move to include Clark might just be the very beginning of a revolution, but if the WNBA's perspective does not change, they may get left far behind as other leagues seize the unique chance to attract fresh energy and many new spectators. As this compelling situation continues to develop, it's abundantly clear that Caitlin Clark's massive impact is only continuing to expand. The LPGA's bold move to bring her into its sphere was audacious, and it has already yielded returns that will likely serve them well for many years to come. Clark is an undeniable megastar, and her devoted followers will go wherever she goes. The LPGA's admirable readiness to embrace her and her considerable fame demonstrates a level of foresight that other professional leagues should definitely observe. They fully realize that real growth is not about exclusion, it's about opening new doors, welcoming new fans, and showing everyone how compelling women's sports can truly be. In a stark contrast, the WNBA's reluctance to fully embrace Clark exposes a kind of mentality that may stifle their own future growth. By concentrating only on maintaining the existing order, they are forfeiting the precious opportunity to broaden their fan base and connect with brand new demographics. It is a powerful reminder that sports, especially in the realm of women's athletics, must always be adaptable and fully receptive to change. Today's modern fans are powerfully attracted to authenticity, to genuine relationships, and to stories that go far beyond any conventional limit. Caitlin Clark perfectly embodies all of that and more, and any league that welcomes her influence will likely reap substantial and incredible benefit. If this whole situation has taught us anything at all, it is that women's sports can gain immensely from close cooperation, from inclusivity, and from a genuine readiness to embrace the stars who bring new attention to the game. The LPGA's complete acceptance of Clark is a very positive move, indicating that they are prepared to take big chances, to innovate, and to prioritize the expansion of women's sports above all else. The WNBA, conversely, is in serious danger of lagging behind by adhering to a very traditional strategy that is completely out of sync with modern fan desires. Women's sports are currently on the verge of a significant and major evolution, and the leagues that successfully adapt will be the ones to ultimately flourish. The LPGA's warm welcome of Caitlin Clark and the WNBA's strong opposition highlight two very distinct potential futures for women's sport. Where one particular league perceives a great opportunity, the other one appears to perceive a serious threat. As Caitlin Clark's stature and influence inevitably increases, the WNBA's ongoing hesitance could prove to be very costly for them. So what are your thoughts on this? Is the WNBA making a terrible error, or is its current stance somehow defensible? Please share your honest opinion in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this detailed analysis, be absolutely sure to like, subscribe, and activate those notifications for more great content on sports, on strategy, and on culture. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time with even more updates from the exciting world of women's sports.